Welcome to the Michigan Golfer Show. Join us each week as we explore the people, the places, and the events that shape our great game.
Hi, I'm Jack Berry, and today we're at the Michigan Golf Show with a few thousand people, and I think most of them are at the booth for Treetops. There's the general manager here, Barry Owens, and Harry Bowers was a designer extraordinaire, and he was on the Robert Trent Jones crew back in the very early days up there. It used to be Sylvan Resort and finally changed the name to Treetops. So, yeah. So Barry, tell us about it. You got all the big booth here for Treetops, and a lot of folks looking at it. What's going on?
We really stepped up our presence here a couple years ago, and it's crazy. It's the largest consumer golf show in the country, and it's a lot for our whole industry and everybody that plays golf to be proud of it. Next weekend, I'll go to the Dallas Golf Show, and there'll be about a tenth of the visitors at that show that there is at this one. So it's a testament to the passion our state has for golf.
Holy mackerel. Well, I think a lot of people also heard that Harry Bowers was going to be here, too.
I think so. I think you're right.
Come on, Harry. Tell us about the early days with Robert Trent Jones.
Well, I can remember meeting early on with Harry Melling, and at the time, Boyne was it. I mean, Boyne was the big resort. And I remember Mr. Jones talking about his work with the Kirschers and the Heather and whatnot, but I also remember Harry Melling saying, yeah, but I'm going to cut them off before they get there. They got to go through Gaylord first. And I think he was right, because the golf courses at Treetops, come on, I mean, you can't get any better.
That's right. And how is it working for your Trent?
Well, that was always a joy. When I started, Roger Rulewich was already there for 20 years, and he was really my mentor. But Mr. Jones, I was convinced after a while, Mr. Jones would just pull up his Rolodex and figure out a golf course he had done somewhere he wants to go to, and would call him up and say, hi, I'm going to make a visit. And boy, they rolled out the red carpet. So.
Well, how about one of your thoughts of the early days at Treetops?
Well, I think one of the neatest stories is, and of course you hit on it. For years it was, I think this past winter we celebrated our 63rd year of skiing, and it started as Sylvan Knob, and then it was Sylvan Resort, and back in the day, Harry talked about wanting to change the name of it. And the story goes is they're on the 6th hole there, which is our signature hole that's everywhere. The picture's a big par 3 dropping down there. And Robert Trent Jones Sr. looks at Mr. Melling and says, that's what you should call this place, Treetops. That's all you can see from up here. And that's how we got our name.
It's perfect, too.
And the fall colors were just coming in. And it was a spectacular view. I mean, I remember thinking at the time, Treetops, but he explained it to me later that evening that golfers really gravitate towards like a single name. Like, I'm going to go play Treetops, or I'm going to go play the Rock, or the, Point of Woods. They didn't call it Point of Woods. We're going to go play the Point, and hey, to a young guy, I'm not sure it made a lot of sense, but it was a stroke of genius.
I've only been at Treetops for 6.5 years and never had the pleasure of working for Mr. Melling, but worked at a competing property and got the pleasure of meeting Mr. Melling a handful of times. But I'll never forget, sadly, when he passed away in '99, went to a memorial service, and it was held on that 6th hole. And I'll never forget, there was a service there. It kind of sprinkled, the proverbial tears from heaven. And a young girl got up in there and sang a song a cappella, and everybody stood and looked out over that view. It was, I'll never forget. Every time I go to that hole, I'll remember that.
Well, I remember on the, I think it's that 3rd hole, where it's the the inverted V fairways, and and here I thought, what a lousy hole, doggone it, and everything rolls off to the woods. Harry loved it because he said he and his wife would just go for walks in the evening. They go along and pick up golf balls on both sides.
Well, that hole was designed to be shorter. Roger Rulewich had it set up as a short kind of risk-reward hole. When Rick Smith was hired, he convinced Mr. Melling it needed to be longer. And I remember it kind of drove Roger nuts that they lengthened that hole, but Mr. Jones was the one that, along with Harry Melling, said, I agree with Harry. That hole is great. Of course, Jones was a devil anyway. He loved to see the golfer go into hazards and whatnot, so he didn't have a problem with it at all. Roger had heartburn, but Harry Melling and Mr. Jones loved it.
Harry said that he liked to play more than the two courses that Rick did and the Fazio did. He liked to play the original, the Jones course, because he had to play harder.
I'll tell you what, though, you get out on the parts, especially the back nine, 10, 11, and 12, and the vistas there are just, you forget how good it is. And some of the things, too, like you stand on the 10th fairway and you can look back through the whole course. And you have to actually look back and see that. Most people probably just play the hole and never look back and see that. And it's you guys do with this.
Hey, Barry, you just jogged my memory. One of the names that they were kicking around before they came up with Treetops was Vista View. Because somebody, I can't remember who it was, it might have been even Harry Melling, that somebody was talking about all the vistas, like you said.
Thank goodness Treetops won.
Right. But you're right. There's a view everywhere up there. It's fantastic.
They've had a great history from when Rick was there, and Rick was dynamite personality, and started the big break started there, the hole in one, or not the par three, the Treetops one, and Lee Torino $1 million shot and all. So Treetops' name has gotten all around the country thanks to Golf Channel and ESPN and so forth. And
one of the ESPN and so forth.
Yeah, one of the neat stories about the Treetops, too, is, one of the guys who participated a bunch there was Freddie Couples. And I guess one year he shows up, I don't know which year it was, and the guys are practicing and stuff, and one of the other competitors looks and goes, Freddie, all you got is irons in your bag. He goes, we're playing a par 3. And so he had irons made. He had like a 9, a 9.5, an 8, an 8.5, 7. So he had his manufacturer. He had nothing more than a 6 iron. So he had 14 clubs, a putter, and like 6 iron to all wedges and stuff. And
Good idea.
well, he won.
Yeah.
He won.
It's a piece of work. Yeah.
So it's neat. We totaled it up. There's guys that played in the event won 52 majors. So I mean, when you throw Nicklaus and Palmer in there, you're over 25, but yeah, it's pretty neat. And we used to advertise 51, and then Phil went and won the British on us. So
yeah, well, all the great ones played. I mean, Mickelson played. He had he had his cadre of players from Florida Southern, that Rocco and.
Well, Rick still has a real good relationship with Phil. I mean, they still do a lot of work together. So that was a lifelong relationship there, I think.
Well, yeah. Well, Rick's got the unbeatable personality. I mean, he called me up. I was covering Michigan football at the time, and he was down in Texas and had just gotten the job at Treetops. And he calls me up and says, who the heck is Rick Smith? He's calling me, and I'm in Honolulu. And he said, I'm the new golf pro at this golf course up in Michigan. And Robert Trent Jones did, and he went all over it.
Well, you can't believe how enthusiastic that guy was. Every day he came out on the golf course, he had an idea. Thank goodness we only used about 10% of them, but he had a lot of great ideas. And hey, he's been designing golf courses himself now, so you could tell he had a passion for it, even back then.
we do. It's kind of neat if people can bring a group up, and we have like a bunch of the original tee markers from when ING was the sponsor, and then so we set it up, and then on each hole we have a placard that says who hit it the closest throughout the whole history of the event. And so people, play it and obviously get a big thrill out. So it plays the same distance and everything else, and they realize why those guys get paid to play golf, and we get, we watch golf. So yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's really neat. People love it. People love it. People love it.
Well, now your head professional does a pretty good job there too, doesn't he?
Yeah, Kevin. We're real proud of Kevin McKinley. In fact, he just received Golf Professional of the Year from the Michigan section, which was well deserved and quite an honor. And he's also very passionately involved in the Patriot Day and the Folds of Honor Foundation, and has won that award like 3 or 4 years. And neat stuff. He's a huge asset to our organization.
And he's great with the juniors. I know he's been a very active junior campaign all around the state.
Yeah, we do the the Junior Golf League, which is one of the best initiatives that the PGA's done in a while, and I think we might have the largest program in the state, and we've sent up teams to the state.
Good. Well, it sounds like things are very active there at Treetops.
It is, and we're really excited too, because we are knee deep right now in a $4.5 million renovation to both of our hotels. So it's much needed. So we're upgrading the hospitality, and all the rooms are being redone, 200 of them. So it's very exciting. It's renovations, it's real exciting today, and then tomorrow it's like, oh my goodness, what did we do? But it's all going to be very neat. It's all going to be very neat.
Now, when's that all going to be done?
So it'll all be done in May. The rooms there'll be some stuff like the lobbies and corridors and stuff that'll kind of trickle in throughout the summer season, but all the rooms will be ready for people in the spring.
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, it's got to be one of the best destinations in Michigan.
Obviously I'm biased, but I think there's a variety of reasons. But one of the major parts is our address, which is Gaylord. And Gaylord, there's a lot going on in Gaylord, but also, we're 10 minutes off of I-75. So it's so easy to get to. We're 10 minutes off of I-75, but it seems like, you're a week away from I-75 with the property and everything.
Yeah, and you've got so much to do there.
We do.
People can go fishing, they can do other things besides golf and tennis.
It really is, the Gaylord area has got so much going on. The motto for Gaylord is all outdoors, and with all the streams and the rivers and the lakes and the hiking, it's neat stuff.
Well, like Jack was saying, just look at the show. Michiganders are all about outdoors. I can't believe how many people are.
Aren't you, Harry?
A little bit. I'm cutting down on my golf course work, but it's you're always going to be a golfer. I don't play as much as I'd like to, and I'm not designing as much as I like to, or I'm more selective. I do 1 or 2 projects a year, but
Pretty successful then.
yeah, it's been successful. Been a good run. It's been good. Florida's been good to me. I moved my office down there 15 years ago and never really looked back. But I still have my home here. My kids are here, and Michigan. You're never gonna. I'm Michigan. I'm a Michigan guy. So the people in Florida can't get it. They can't get it. They say, wait a minute now. You come down here in the summer and redesign golf courses, and you go back to Michigan in the wintertime. I say, yeah, that's right. They look at me like I'm a screwball, but I love it,
Well, we've been talking with Harry Bowers from South Lyon, which is just a mile or so away from us here. Yeah. And Barry Owens from Treetops. So it's been an enjoyable day here at the Michigan Golf Show.
I'll ask Mr. Melling, what really made you feel that Mr. Jones was the person that you wanted up here at Sylvan Resort?
I think the key factor is he leaves the land basically the way it is. And the beauty up here, I could see it, but not as good as he could see it. I could go through the woods and see hills, but I couldn't see the hills and the valleys and I have seen a lot of the other architects, and he leaves things natural. And tell you what, when he started moving the trees out of the way, he saw it, and I didn't see it, and we couldn't have made it any better choice.